Evangelii härold is the third full-length album from Swedish black metal duo LIFVSLEDA. This is a classic-style Swedish black metal band which endeavors to revive the feeling of classic Nordic black metal, as they put it. And that, in their defense, a lot of that really revolves around melodic black metal style. They inherently write melodic songs, and they've built more aggression into each of their records to sort of balance out the fluidity and the melodic charm of their previous records. This record does well enough to switch things up into more aggressive sections, into more atmospheric pieces, but those experiments don't really work as well as what they've done so well with on their second full-length album, Sepulchral Dedication. That was one of my favorite records of 2022, and I don't think that they've necessarily topped that record here on this one, but they have kept in really well with what they were doing from in the first place. The tone of the record is severe, the melodicism is intact, and the classic early 90s feeling of Swedish black metal is still there. There are maybe some more depressive moments on this record than others. There's maybe more bursts of aggression and riff. There's some bestial blasts here and there even, but inherently they're doing the same thing and doing it just a little bit differently for this record. So we'll cut to a song here and get to maybe what's different and what's good and bad about that. So while the opener on this record is a rush, it's a great song. It kind of feeds us into this record, reminding us of what was cool about the last one. And when we get to the title track, or the second piece on the album, there's this clip being spoken in the back of the song, which reminds me of modern post-black metal. It really wasn't what I was looking for in terms of the tone or the pace of the record. It takes a very slow turn, and for me up front, that title track pulls me right out of this record in a way that I didn't appreciate when I first started listening to it. I wasn't going to review it, but I gave it another chance, and eventually I sort of grew into appreciating what they were doing, and I used the most recent record from Mortuus was essentially doing the same thing, so I couldn't really fault the use of a sample like that in that context. It is kind of a classic orthodox black metal choice to make in most ways, and doesn't directly relate to post-black metal, but it didn't feel like something that was for this band. And I'd really studied Sepulchral Dedication quite a lot. It was one of my favorite records of the time. So what we get here is a similar record in most senses. It's just that it doesn't focus on the structure of the song in such a classic way as often. These are, I think, songs that were written in both one very classic mode, and then other songs that were written in much more in a let's do something different kind of sense. And so part of this record thinks outside of the box. Part of it is very much in that tradition of Swedish black metal of a certain era, and I get all that. It does work together, and it does make for a great record. It doesn't make for that much that I'm that excited about when I've stepped away from the record, because I still have stronger memories and much more of an appreciation for the more memorable aspects of the previous record. So for me, the waters have been muddied a little bit, and that's the hill to climb anytime a band puts out a record that I find exemplar. So what is great about this record is that it's a little bit more aggressive, it's a little bit more violent, it's a little bit more morose and serious, but also depressive, like I'd said before. And I think that's a good point to grow on. I think it is a continuation of what they'd done before, while also doing something different. And I appreciate that the artist is they're reaching out into different aspects of it. Otherwise, I don't. Again, you notice I don't really have anything all that deep to say about it. This is a record that I enjoyed throughout my time with it. Again, when I started listening to it, I wasn't sure about what, if this was up to the quality of the previous record. But as I gave it time, it did eventually reveal itself as an impressive record, one that I was worth repeating and listening to over and over. And these immersive qualities became more outspoken. Much more so than my criticisms over time, and eventually I think that's worthy of a high recommendation. So see if that fits to your taste. If you like the last record, maybe there'll be a couple of hitches there or there might not be at all, but I eventually came around with this one, and I'd be interested to hear what other people thought of it. So this released on April 30th. You can check it out now. Go ahead and listen to it at your leisure and read the full review if you see fit.